This is a meeting of Lakeville Conservation Commission. It's May 11th, 2021. My name is Bob Bouchard. I am the conservation agent and chairman of the committee. Permit me to confirm that all members are present and as well as persons anticipated on the agenda on presenting and can hear me. So I'm going to have the roll call. Joseph.
Present.
Nancy.
Present.
Mark is absent. All right, John.
Present.
Josh.
Present.
And of course, myself. All right. Now, do we have any other attendees who will want to be heard tonight? So if there are any engineers, contractors, abutters, owners, etc., please identify yourself. Give us your name and your association.
Jamie Bissonette, Zenith Consulting Engineers.
Thank you, Jamie. Who else? We have Scott.
Greg Drake from Outback Engineering.
Greg, how do you do?
How you doing?
Good.
Raul from Cape and Islands Engineering.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good. Who else?
Brittany Gessner with VHB.
Hi, Brittany, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. And we've already been introduced to Scott. Does that leave anyone else? No? All right, then I guess we'll get started. Get my paperwork in order here. This open meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth as a result of the outbreak of the virus. In order to reduce the transmission of the virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the government order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible and physical location. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other individuals may be able to see you and that be careful not to share screen. Forgive me for stuttering. I'm trying to read my own handwriting and it's worse than ever these days. Okay, so as the meeting progresses, I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comments. Please hold on until you are called. Please mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please speak clearly and wait until you are called and state your name before speaking. After all members have spoken, I will allow public comment. Finally, each vote will be taken by roll call. That being done, let's move on to the fun stuff. First on the, we're going to shift the agenda just a little bit so as not to keep some people waiting who are only here for a short time. So first, speaking for New Bedford, 2 New Bedford Street, I think Scott is here. Were you going to make?
Yeah, that's right. Do you want me to describe what I've reviewed, or do you want the applicant to present the project?
Mr. Chairman, can I just say something, please?
Sure.
I think that because our secretary is out this week and you've been out for a while, that I got a little mixed up, and I don't think that Cape and the Islands got the Paul didn't get the second letter until just today.
Oh,
I thought it had gone out from the office, but obviously he didn't get it. I don't know if he's had proper time to review and comment.
So is
So
that
we
the case,
should
Mr.
ask him if he wants to continue or if he wants to talk about it tonight. Because that would mean Scott would have to come to another meeting also.
Mr. Chairman, if I could speak on behalf of the application.
Yes, please.
For the record, Raul Lizardi from Cape and Islands. We did receive the second review letter from the peer reviewer today, but most of the comments in that letter say that they've been addressed. There were like 4 floating comments still remaining, but even those 4 comments we can agree to. So I believe we could continue with this hearing tonight, and hopefully we can close it. That's our goal. And it's good that the peer reviewer is present so that he can also provide his feedback on his review.
Okay, so you're not adverse to listening to what we have to say and then just continuing until next week for completing it.
Well, if we can actually close it based on approving the revised plan that the peer review reviewed for us, I'll be happy to accept that as a condition if we can close tonight.
All right, well, let's, I guess, hear what Scott has to say, and if we're all in agreement, then yeah, we can maybe close.
Yeah, if I would like to make a brief recap
Sure.
of where we are,
Go
and
right
that
ahead.
way then I can just pass it along to Scott and he can provide his feedback on his review.
All right, please do.
So yes, this project was before this board early in March and late in March for 2 hearings. It was continued because the board voted to have a peer review, the drainage and the site design. So the project was forwarded to a peer review for their comments to the commission based on their analysis or their review of our analysis for the drainage and the site design. We did a couple of test pits on the site. The results from that test pit and the findings of the groundwater level resulted in us revising the front left corner of the site. We did that to allow for additional separation to groundwater. We found that the groundwater was sort of shallow in this location, which is the closest location to the wetlands. So we revised the site by closing out the existing northerly, I believe I'm saying this right, existing curb cut. In the past, we were proposing to keep the 2 curb cuts as they exist, but based on this groundwater, we chose to close that 1 curb cut and relocate that curb cut in an area that's roughly outside of the 100-foot jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. In removing that curb cut, it allows us to raise the grades of that parking, and in particular for the patio and the drive-through lane. So that revision allows us to lift the grades and provide adequate separation to the groundwater. And if I could, and the chairman allows me, I could share my screen to kind of highlight this area.
Sure, go ahead.
So hopefully everyone can see the plan that I have on my screen. So this is the area that suffered the revisions for the most part. Before this existing curb cut, we were proposing to remain the same. However, this test pit we did in this location, we found that the groundwater was rather high. So the existing grades here are about high 41s. And now what we're proposing is to show a proposed grades of 46 over this drainage system. So this drainage system is elevated, the grades are elevated. We're closing this driveway and we're recreating a smaller driveway. We will have to go to Mass Highway for this curb cut permit. This one would be 24 foot wide. This existing one was about 34. This is the 100-foot wetland jurisdiction line. So this driveway, for the most part, is outside of the 100-foot buffer. The driveway for the drive-through wraps around the patio and comes out at this location. This area that we previously had as pavement now becomes green space and at higher elevations. These 3 drainage basins We used to call them rain gardens, but in terms of stormwater management, the word and the term rain garden has some implications to it, one of which it has to have a particular soil base for planting, which is rather deep. And this being a redevelopment of the existing site, we didn't want to adhere ourselves to that particular requirement. So we are recalling them as vegetated drainage areas. So they're open drain basins. They're just going to be some vegetation to allow for some treatment to the surface water, to the runoff. These drainage basins will collect any water standing over, I believe it's 10, 12 inches, and then they're discharged through a series of pipes into this drainage basin on this location. It will also be another vegetative basin. We're not calling it rain gardens because of the requirements to planting, soil depths, and so forth. The grades all around here got raised, and the parking spaces that used to be at this location were relocated to this location and one on this location back here. Most of the other comments we addressed on the revised plan that we sent to the peer review. 4 of the outstanding items now have to do with standard number 4 for the stormwater management, which is TSS removal. For these drainage basins that we have down here, vegetative basins, we're not looking to seek the 80% TSS removal. We're just providing an improvement to what's on the site today. The site currently has no drainage system whatsoever. So this vegetated drainage basins, not rain gardens, will provide some TSS removal. We're just not targeting a particular 80% TSS removal as part of that redevelopment. The upper drainage basin is in this location, which is considered new development. This one has storm scepters to provide the TSS removal and infiltration basin before it actually discharges into this stone swale. So this one, as new development, will provide the required TSS removal. This site, although we are proposing this amount of drainage system and these improvements, we're not calling it a loophole site, which is a land use of higher pollutant loads. We're not calling it that. We don't exactly have the final uses of the site. The existing site was used as a restaurant. We know that the developer wants to use part of it as a restaurant, the rest of it as office spaces. But we don't know, we don't have calculations of trip generation for this site, but we're not calling it a loophole. If it were to be, we're saying that the new development drainage system will provide 80% TSS removal. We did provide an illicit discharge statement. However, it was not signed by the developer, but we can get that signed. We can submit a sign if it's conditioned that way. And what that is that it's a statement that indicates that these drainage systems are intended for roof, for precipitation from rainwater and so forth. They're not intended for other illegal discharges. There was in the calculations for this roof runoff drainage system, we have an outlet structure, and in the analysis, we called out that the outlet was going to be a 6-inch opening outlet. In the plan itself, it's called as a 4-inch, but we'll revise the plan. It has to be a 6-inch based on the calculations, but that's just a change to the size of 6 that we currently show as 4. So those are the revisions. The most the most prominent project remain the same. The only revisions happen in this area and raising the grades. Along with raising the grades, the floor of the building also raised to accommodate those elevations. So I have really no more to add, but I can pass it over to the peer reviewer. He has something else that he wants to add. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Nancy, you're the one who's been working on this the most. What's your preference? Do you want to have the commission respond, or do we want to listen to Scott's comments?
I would like to listen to Scott's comments, but I do have one other concern. Number one, we don't have the revised plan yet. Number two, that's 70% coverage. So I'm thinking that this has to go by the planning board and they have to get density bonuses. So this whole plan could change substantially because the planning board might ask for more green space.
Great.
So I mean, if we really want to close this tonight, we got to figure out how to write that into that whole conditions. I don't know if I'm prepared to come up with all the conditions I need to, but let's hear from Scott first before we go any further.
All right, sounds good.
So I agree, generally with what the applicant said. My biggest concern really is TSS removal in the area around the building where he has those vegetated wetland collection areas. I like them. I like the fact that they're doing them. I just would like to see a calculation to see if he meets the TSS removal standard. I think you said you might add a storm scepter. Is that what you said to increase the TSS removal?
There's 2 storm scepters for the upper parking lot.
Right. So you're not proposing to change anything, add any additional treatment in these stormwater depressions?
No, not in the basins, no.
Okay, so do you know what the TSS removal is for those areas? For those systems, those were taken out. When I made the first comment, you had you had a TSS removal sheet in there, and then you took it out when you made these revisions. So what do you estimate them to be?
Yeah, the reason we removed them, this is the part that's redevelopment. So if the drain basins are accounted to be 50% removal of TSS, total suspended solids, then that's a 50% improvement over what's currently happening on the site. If the drain basins, vegetated drain basins are called out to be a 60% removal, then that's what it will be. We just didn't want to call them again as a rain garden, which is the higher 90% removal, because we don't have the space above groundwater to provide a 2-foot planting soil material.
Right, understood. So the way I look at this is that I agree with him that it is an improvement. There are some areas that currently aren't paved that will be paved that flow to this system. If you're looking at the plan to the east, or I guess to the right of the building, there's a significant area that's unpaved now that will be paved. So it is a mix of new and redevelopment draining to this system. The other question I have is these inlets that you have in these depressions. Are they inlets or are they catch basins?
They're inlets.
Okay, so do they have a sump and do they have hoods?
They have very minimal sump, so we don't want to account any sump on them.
Okay, so the only treatment that you're getting is really in the grassed area, in the depression.
That's right.
Okay, so to me, they're more like sediment forebays, which would probably get you 25% or so. So in this area, again, it's a combination of new development and redevelopment. I asked a question about whether it's a LUPL or not. Well, let's back up a second. It's a combination of new development and redevelopment. New development, you need to meet the standards. You need to meet the 80%. Redevelopment, you need to meet to the maximum extent practicable, which is everybody has a different opinion as to what's maximum extent practicable. The reason I asked if it's a LUPL is because if it is a LUPL, then I would hope that they would provide the 80%. I agree that what they're providing is definitely an improvement over what's there, because what's there now, stormwater simply sheets off. But because it's a mix of new and redevelopment, if they can add some additional treatment, I think that's better for the project.
Is that it, or did you have something else?
There are other comments that are in the letter that are, for the most part, administrative. Like he mentioned, he has there's an inconsistency between the outlet structure from one of the underground systems some piping labels, the illicit discharge system, those to me are administrative. But this issue regarding the TSS removal, in my opinion, is something that I would like to see a little bit more.
Okay. So, Raul, what do you think? What's your reaction?
There is the potential of an additional, what they call a storm scepter, which provides additional treatment. If I go back to sharing my screen,
Okay.
so this is the upper system that already has storm scepters included in it. These 3 vegetative basins, which by the way, are outside of conservation jurisdiction, they're approximately 150 plus feet from the edge of the wetland, but they do collect all their overflow from the 3 basins. And there is this drain pipe right here and this manhole to redirect the flow into this other drain basin. This drain basin is completely within the buffer zone. The location where I can see a storm scepter to be added if the board wants this treatment to have additional TSS removal, it will be at this drain manhole. It's a matter of just replacing the manhole with a storm scepter. So the water, the flow that's coming out of these 3 basins goes through it and it provides additional TSS removal. But again, we're showing that it is an improvement over what's on the site, even though this parking right here, I don't know if everyone can see this dashed line of the existing pavement. This parking right here is additional pavement on the property outside of jurisdiction for the Conservation Commission. But the review is good for any other department of the town. And yes, this project has to go through planning board. It will have to go through the planning board to review the lot coverages and the incentives to add 10% to get to 60% and an additional 10% to get to 70%. There's a little bit of reduction in impervious surfaces by removing the driveway in this location. But still, that's another board and they will review this plan once they get the full application before them. But if the board chooses to, that could be a condition that the outflow out of these 3 vegetative basins gets intercepted by a storm scepter. And if the peer review wants to add his comments to this, I could agree to a condition that the storm scepter be added to that system.
So I like that idea. But you also have the area in back and that, that swale that's in the back of the site. And the area that is to the right of the building, as you're looking at the plan, that's a lot of the newer pavement. So if there's something else you could do with that system in the back, I think that would be, I think that would help a lot too.
Well,
I know it's a little bit more problematic because you've got 4 curb cuts.
If I can share my screen a little more. So this is the area that the peer review is referring to. This is the existing edge of pavement.
We're not seeing a map.
Sorry, let me try this again. Can you all see the map?
Yeah.
So this is the existing edge of pavement right here where my hand is moving through. So
Yeah.
this pavement is the area that sheet flows to this swale back here.
Right.
This pavement in this area exists today. All of this pavement discharges to these 3 basins. So this pavement on this side, except for this portion here, is redevelopment going through these 3 basins. This pavement over here does not go through these 3 basins, it goes into this swale. So the trade-off is that this pavement is much less than the pavement that's being received by these three basins. If these three basins get intercepted with a storm scepter, there is more treatment to existing redevelopment than the area of this pavement back here. The roof for the whole building will be discharged into subsurface, so that will have enough TSS removal, and the roof runoff is considered a clean runoff, so that is managed properly. So the area that's in question is the trade-off between the back parking between the building and the retaining wall as a trade-off to the front parking, which is mostly existing today, that's going through the three basins.
I hear your argument. I mean, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that you're treating the existing pavement and it is over 80%, and the trade-off being the newer pavement, you're treating to less than 80%. Is that what you're proposing?
For the portion on the back of the building, because the upper
Right.
parking lot will have the storm scepters and the subsurface leaching.
Yeah, which it should, because it's almost entirely new pavement. You know, in my opinion, if there's something more you can do in the back, it is better. You know, personally, when I design projects, even if it's redevelopment, I try to meet the standards as if it's new development. You don't know exactly what the use is going to be here for the trip generation. So it's up to the commission, but that's my feeling right now is if they can do more in the back, that would be, that would be preferable. I think that's more desirable.
Mhm. Okay, let's hear from the commission. Nancy, you've already started. Let's go with you.
Right. I think that you would probably be better off doing the more treatment now, because our recommendation is going to go forward also to the planning board, because the peer reviewers reviewed it for us, but these comments are going to get forwarded to the planning board also. So you might be better to do it before you even get there.
Yeah,
Like I say, I still have big concerns about 70% coverage. You haven't earned your density bonuses yet. And with all that pavement, you'd be better off doing some really good treatment towards your density bonus. You might have to do more green space anyway. This is also probably going to be a pretty lengthy order of conditions, and I'm not going to be able to come up with a motion for it tonight. And I think that we need a new plan, an actual plan of record. I think another condition that we would put on there is that any changes by the planning board will be subject to additional review to see whether or not it needs an amended order of conditions. So I think it's kind of hard to say, okay, this is all okay with us when we still have a lot of things to see, including a new plan. So it would be my recommendation to see what they come up with and continue for 2 weeks. And I'll work on an order of conditions to get it ready, and I'll be in touch with Cape and the Islands and Scott to try to pull it together so that we can close it and have an actual order of conditions to recommend at our next meeting. I think we're almost there.
I think so.
I don't think there's a lot of stuff. I think we're almost there, but I don't want to have to return to it. I don't think we can finish it out tonight.
Yeah, if we can save some time in the long run, as far as the planning board goes, seems like an opportunity that we should take. And with the extra time, you can work out the order of conditions with Scott and get the map finalized. So that being said, Raul, how do you feel? We continued for the next meeting.
First, I would like to hear more comments from the commissioners. If anyone else
Yes.
has any additional comments or opinions.
All right,
So we actually ask for a continuance, and at the next hearing, there's more questions.
sure. All right. Joseph, we haven't heard from you yet.
I would somewhat disagree with Nancy. I would think that Mr. Lazardi would want to go to the planning board first because of the amount of pavement, the non-porous surface that's going to end up there. And I know that one of the things that the planning board is certainly going to ask, anytime there's a drive-through window to any building, they always want to know how many cars can you queue up before they're backing out somewhere onto a traveled way. Because I mean, particularly with the pandemic, with people not going into buildings, it's amazing. I go some places and there's cars backed up, 10 of them out on a numbered state route from a coffee shop, because that particular town didn't specify enough space to be able to stack cars. And I look at where the proposed drive-through is here, and it seems to be a majority of that drive-through is blocking off parking spaces. Now, again, that's not really Concom problems, but the planning board may have something to say about that, and that would alter what we would say. Again, I agree with Nancy that we're getting close to getting this resolved, so we can write an order of conditions and get you guys going. But there's a lot of factors still being dealt with on this property.
Right. Mr. Chairman, through you, Joe, I don't think you're disagreeing with me. I think we're both
I'm
on
not
the
really.
same.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
All right, good. John,
Yeah, I honestly would defer to our professional peer review. I think that the additional treatment is probably a good idea. I think that us approving it prior to the planning board, I mean, this plan could change significantly if they don't get their
Density bonus.
density bonuses. So I wouldn't be in favor of voting on this tonight.
okay. And that leaves Josh. Where'd you go?
Scott, I want to thank you for all the work you've put in. It really helps clarify a lot of this stuff. I think I'm on the same page as the board. I don't think we should make any motion before it goes in front of the planning board. I think we might just be wasting our time, but that's all I have.
Okay.
It's a shame we don't have the planning board chairman here with us tonight, who is also on our commission.
I know, I'm disappointed that he didn't have the opportunity to have a say, but they will eventually. So I'm agreement with you folks that we'd like to see more. And I'd like to see it continued for that period of time to finish it up. So is there any more discussion, or are we ready for a motion?
Do we have any abutters to this project?
Not that I'm aware of.
I
Is
don't
there
think
anyone
so.
here that wishes to speak that hasn't already, that may be in a butter? Guess not.
Is our next meeting on the 25th, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to continue 2 Bedford Street to May 25th at 7 p.m.
I'll second.
Is this with the understanding that we'd like to see more treatment?
I think that was the recommendation.
All right.
And Raul and Scott are going to get together in the meantime and work things out.
Yeah, at least get a preliminary order of conditions put together to say sometime down the road.
When is this going before the planning board? Oh, you don't have a date yet?
No.
Scott?
So I think that if you think and it is a shame that Mark's not on the call, but I'd recommend getting some kind of read from him. If the project's going to change considerably, then I think that's a you may want to consider how you act. I think that, looking at this, I think we can work out a solution, which is fairly straightforward, which would make the project better regarding the treatment in the back. But the item regarding if the project has to change considerably, I think that's more of a concern as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but I would like to add to that. I mean, many projects have multiple hearings and reviews through other boards, and not all the time, but they do sometimes change. So there's always that condition that should a project change too much, and there was a prior commission or board that issued a permit, then that board or commission has the right to review it again to see if it needs amendments. So that would be the typical case in this project. If the changes are substantial, then it needs to come back for an amendment. But this is the project we have right now. So we cannot review what could be. This is the only project we have, and that's the one that we're asking to have an order for.
So I guess I don't understand what that means about treatment, Mr. Chairman. It means no more treatment. You're gonna go with what you have now when it's, I don't know, according to you, maybe I'm not understanding, but according to you, you're saying what, 50% or 60% treatment, and it sounded like Scott said only about 25.
So we'll be issuing a revised plans because that's one of the things that the commission wants. We want to formally submit the revised plan, and we'll do whatever adjustment we need to the treatment, to the TSS removal, after we review it back and forth with Scott. It is an easy addition to this design to do another storm scepter for TSS removal. The one that I'm gonna have to review in the office with other folks is treatment to the back one, between the back of the building and the retaining wall, where elevation-wise, we don't have a lot of room to play with. But we can improve on the TSS, that's no question. And we'll do that for the revised plans so that the next hearing we can close it.
All right, that sounds real good to me. We have a motion and a second, right?
So far.
Yep.
Any other discussion? No? So all those in favor of the motion, please indicate as I call your name. Joseph,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Josh?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so the motion carries. So we will continue until our next meeting, which is the 25th, we said, right, Nancy?
At 7 PM.
Okay, very good.
Thanks, Raul.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you also, Scott, for your input.
Okay, is that it?
That's it for now.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
All right. So let's move on then. The first new item is 149 Bedford Street. This is an NOI and it's being presented by Zenith.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have to recuse myself from this. Mela Maxey is the real estate agent that I hired to sell my mother's house, so I really need to recuse myself.
Okay, understood.
Good evening, Jamie Bissonette, Zenith Consulting Engineers for the record. Before you tonight, we have a filing for a commercial site at the corner of Bedford Street and Rhode Island Road. Right now, there's a very dilapidated house that sits extremely close to the traffic light. I'm sure everyone is very familiar with it, having driving by it on a regular basis. It's kind of diagonal across from Russo's RV. That's the site. What we're looking to do, and Mr. Chair, if I may share my screen.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. What we're proposing to do is raise the existing structure and construct a new 1,800 square foot office building on a flat slab style foundation. This site will also have a new curb cut placed down closer towards Tamarack Liquors, further away from the traffic light. We've been through the planning board on this, and we actually went in front of the zoning board of appeals as well. And so we're making our stop here with the commission. We're really looking for some buffer zone work. The resource areas appear to fall on abutting properties, some being across Bedford Street and then some being across on the adjacent property. Right now, Mass DOT has an easement with some drainage facilities in here. They appear to be connected to the head wall across the way underneath, and then they seem to drain into this ditch where there's an existing 15-inch culvert. What we're looking to do here is we're putting in our parking area with our new entrance. We're collecting it. I'll change pages here to show you.
Jamie, can you blow that up a little? Or no?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Much better. Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. We'll be catching it via catch basin, which we have a catch basin placed in this area here. It's actually a First Defense, which I've heard the term storm scepter mentioned a few times tonight. First Defense is just a different brand with a similar treatment to a storm scepter. That will in turn drain into this infiltration basin. The infiltration basin has an outlet structure, which is designed to meter out flow at a reduced rate to the ditch area where it's heading now. We also have this area over in here, which is getting in some water because of the existing grading. So we modeled it to be able to take in the existing water. The structure that's up in this area is an existing catch basin. And so we've modeled it to make sure that we can contain the flows there without any adverse effects. The water gets into the catch basin and runs into that 15-inch culvert under the way. And we're also proposing for a septic system and reserve area up in the front. Essentially, what we're looking to do is construct the site, put in drainage mitigation, which there are none on site now, update the building, update the septic system to Title V requirements, and have a new safer site for the for the town and for our client. Be happy to try to answer any questions if you have any.
Where's the buffer zone, Jamie?
Buffer zone falls right in here, John.
Okay.
So you can see it in this vicinity, and then there's also buffer zone that
On the
goes
other
across
side.
the street, so it goes here. So this work in here would be within the buffer zone.
In the buffer zone. And you're talking about paving that parking lot and driveway?
Yes, sir. So we still have, so once we're done with conservation, after that, we can file with MassDOT because Bedford Street's a state layout.
Right.
So we'll begin the application process through MassDOT. MassDOT's going to take a look at not only the roadway entrance, but they'll also look at the drainage and the drainage easement. They're extremely protective of their easements. So I expect that we'll probably have quite a few questions with them on this. All that being said, this is kind of the last stop before Mass DOT.
Jamie, that drainage ditch that we see that is oriented to the southwest, is flow in that direction, and is it constant?
Well, right now you have, from my understanding, the water from the other side of the roadway that comes into it, and you have drainage that's coming into it, and then our entire site drains towards it. So I believe you'll find after rainstorms that, yeah, there's flow in there.
Does it dry up?
I have seen it dry, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I was just curious because in talking to some of the locals, they swear that they've seen it flow both directions.
And that could be, it could be extremely flat in that area.
But there's nothing else. It's not any other influence. There's nothing else flowing into that area, either on Bedford Street or to the other side.
Well, again, we have this head wall with this system over in here.
Yeah,
I'm not aware of any other catch basins that tie into it, but, at the end of the day, could there be? I guess there's a possibility of it. I don't know of any. We're
And,
showing
yeah.
everything that we're aware of.
and DOT maintains that head wall.
Yes, this is in their layout and, this is their easement over in here, from my understanding.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Joe, your turn.
Couple of questions. I
Yes.
remember watching the ZBA hearings, there was a lot of talk about a sign on the corner.
Yes.
Is that shown on this plan?
So it wasn't actually a sign on the corner. The sign's right here. If I
Oh,
go-
okay. I
if I
thought it
go
was
to-
over on the corner.
No. So the building itself, there was some discussion about how close the building was to the corner. I think on our first application, we proposed it in here. And that was quickly objected to. And so we looked at alternatives and we moved it quite a bit down the road. Now, what we have here and what we've gone through planning board approved the sign location. And then this right here is, we're proposing a sign that would conform to all the bylaws because they did deny the increase in square footage on the sign. I think we were looking for 9 extra square feet. The zoning board felt that that would not be a good thing to grant. They felt that there might be some issues with the traffic light and distractions, if I recall correctly. But this is the placement of the sign, Joe.
A somewhat related question.
Yes, sir.
We know that there's, I'm sure you must have heard from Mass DOT. What are they planning on doing with that stretch of Rhode Island Road out there?
Yeah, well, from my understanding, I'm not sure that they're gonna be taking anything on this property. I've looked at the preliminary plans. I believe they were done by Beta Group years ago. So as far as what I'm aware of is we'll be submitting these to the state with the MassDOT process. And if they have anything updated from there, what they'll do is they'll put me in touch with the project engineer and the outside consultant that's working for the state. And if there are any major changes from that, we'll be representing them to the town, or at least letting the department heads know of it.
So there's no likelihood that they would be widening the road and adding more impervious surface?
I'm unaware if they're going to be taking more as far as the right of way is concerned. I have not been informed of that. My understanding is, though, that the intent is to widen the pavement and add a bike lane, if I understand correctly. And they're going to be bringing it up to Clear Pond Road, was, I believe, the extent of the improvements through the intersection.
Anything else, Joe?
Nope.
All right, Nancy?
I'm out. I mean, I'm, I recuse myself, so I can't
Oh.
comment.
Well, yeah, you just can't vote. You can comment.
And you definitely can as a citizen, Nancy.
It's certainly an improvement. I like that the buildings move back from the street because there's no visual. Everybody complains about that corner being dangerous, so the buildings moved back. I like that. I've been on this site many times. And I did hear comments from other people about the wetland, but a lot of that, the wet place is just the existing drainage easement and not, the wetlands way in the back. So, this seems like that dilapidated house has been there for a long time. It will be a breath of fresh air to see something new there.
Yeah, it's been there forever.
Right.
All right. All right. Thank you, Nancy.
Yep.
John?
So is the elevation of this road going to change? The elevation of the existing? Are you building it up, the parking lot, or?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely elevation changes. In fact, we're building it up quite a bit.
Okay.
Right now, as you can see, it's kind of a mishmash, but at the roadway up in here, we're talking about an elevation 102, and then it drops down to a 97 over a
Okay.
bit. So what we're doing to meet stormwater and requirements, we're bringing it in and we're bringing this up quite a bit. So in this point right here, it's going to be brought up roughly 4 feet.
Okay.
And then over in here, I believe that is a 96, 97. So that will be also, that's going to be brought up 5 to 6 feet. So yeah, there's some substantial dirt being brought in to get this parking lot and everything to work properly.
So do you have siltations shown somewhere on this?
Yes, sir. What we do
can't see.
is, no, that's okay. We have several sheets. So on our erosion and sediment control plan,
Okay.
we show silt sock, silt fence line that runs all along the side here. Pretty much wraps the entire property at the limit of work. We also have a proposed construction entrance with the
Okay.
riprap pad and details, dewatering area, concrete washout area, and
Perfect.
vehicle storage area, which is where they park the equipment at night.
Yeah.
We have an operation and maintenance plan for it, construction sequence detail, and all the other details that I'd normally present with you.
And they'll keep that road clean
Oh,
on a
yeah,
daily basis.
this, again, obviously, I'm not out there with the broom myself, but
No, I get it.
MassDOT will be all over them if not.
Yeah.
And part of the Mass DOT permit is wordage covering, keeping it clean, doing work appropriately, and the like.
Yeah, that's all I have.
All right, how about you, Josh?
I have no comment.
All right, very good. So do we, anyone else have anything to say? Are there any abutters or anyone with something to say about this project? Oh, I guess everybody got worn down. All right, then do I hear a motion?
Now, this is an RDA.
This is an NOI.
It is an NOI. Well, it is an NOI. Okay, make sure. Okay. I make a motion that we close the hearing and issue a order of conditions to allow the work to go forward. I think this would be, correct me if I'm wrong, Nancy, this would be the 3?
No, that's not RDA. It would be all our standard
All our
conditions
standard.
for before, during, and after construction.
Okay. What she said.
Okay. Do you
I'll
have
second that.
a second? Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Joseph,
Aye.
Nancy.
Cues.
Recused.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's
All right. All right.
John,
Aye.
Josh,
Aye.
I vote an aye. All right, so the motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, before we continue, Jamie, if you don't mind, just for a second, as I know you're up next, but we did shift the agenda a little bit, and I just realized I didn't mean to overlook Brittany. I see you're down at the bottom of the list here. Do you have a long drive ahead of you?
Oh no, just in the spare bedroom. So I'm happy to wait. I don't mind, or whenever you're ready to take us.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to overlook you.
No worries.
All
Thank
right.
you though.
All right, you're welcome. All right, then, Jamie, you get to go again.
Lucky me.
This is the
All right.
5 Cross Street.
5 Cross Street.
Yes, sir. All right. Would you like for me to start, or do you have to read anything in?
No, you can just go ahead and,
Okay, Mr. Chairman and Board Commission, this is Jamie Bissonette, Zenith Consulting Engineers. Mr. Chairman, may I share my screen?
yes.
Thank you. Here we go. Much better. All right. Before you tonight, we have a proposal for a single-family dwelling with associated septic, driveway, grading, and utilities. So this is Cross Street. And what we're proposing right now is there's a small existing type of entrance to get back to the upland portion of the site. We're squeaking a driveway in there to get to the upland portion of the site where we're proposing that single-family dwelling. You'll see BVW on both lines. There was some area with actually some standing water, which we're also attributing a buffer zone to. And over in here, there was some standing water as well. So you'll see we're showing several types of buffer zones. The BVW is shown in red for the 25 foot, and the water is blue. Also, purple would be water, and green for the 50 foot is going to be BVW. Anyways, both the water and the BVW setbacks to the septic system are greater than 50 feet. There's really not much, if any, area on site that is 100 feet or greater. So the entire site's pretty much in the buffer zone. We're trying to maximize all the separations and maintain as much 25 foot no touch as possible. As you can see, a lot of it around the site, we're not really doing anything with at this time. We're proposing erosion controls that wrap the site. We're showing limit of clearing to a pretty limited extent based on the amount of disturbance that's going to be needed for any construction on a lot like this. And we're also coming in with a minimum practical driveway for access into the site. I'd be happy to try to address any questions that you may have on this.
Okay, let's start with Joseph.
Don't have any particular questions right now.
Alrighty. Nancy?
Did you have to go to the ZBA on this because of where's your upland circle?
There's no such thing as an upland circle anymore, Nancy. It's a front yard circle.
Okay,
So the front yard,
Okay.
the front yard circle can fit right in the front here.
okay, it doesn't have to touch the road anymore.
It either has to touch the frontage,
Yeah,
being the front property line, or the front yard setback.
yep.
Okay, so have you been by the Board of Health yet?
You know what? I'm not sure if we have or we haven't. I know we did the perks with the Board of Health. I'm not sure about approval as far as Board of Health is concerned.
All right, and I'm looking at the plan, no variances for the Board of Health?
New construction, we have to really try not to have any variances for new
Right,
construction. Yep.
Right,
So yeah,
okay.
there's none needed. We meet all the minimum setbacks, you know, at least meet them. So yeah, none asked for.
Okay, let's see, who flagged the wetland?
It's a good question. And I just received word that this was submitted to the Board of Health, but not approved yet. And it was delineated by Bob Gray of Sebacia.
How
Okay.
long ago, Jamie, how long ago was that?
He
done,
did
you
this
know?
in 2017 when we did the survey and the A&R plan for the site.
Okay.
I do have to say, this is something you're squishing in between, and I'm not telling you anything new, Jamie,
Yeah.
but between two giant wetland systems.
Mhm.
And it reminds me a lot of the one that we did between the town hall and Savas back there on the golf course in the wetland area. And on that project,
I know which one.
okay, well, and we, did not approve that when we asked for an alternatives analysis. This is such a sensitive area that we don't have to allow a 4-bedroom big home. I mean, we requested on the other one, and we won in that case, an alternatives analysis. An
Mhm.
alternative to something this size going in a sensitive area. You got water on all sides.
I think I think the big difference on this one and that one, Nancy, is
Yep.
in that one, you're so close to the pond.
Yep.
This one, we're on the other side of town. So
True.
the
True.
impact to the drinking water supply is vastly different. In this case, when I look at this and I'm trying to think of an alternatives analysis, I think at the heart of it, we're meeting all the performance standards. When presented with the performance standards for the BVW, I don't see any of the work that we're proposing here to have a long-term adverse effect on any of the wetlands. I actually don't even see it having a short-term adverse impact. We're trying to maintain as much buffer as possible, and I don't see the environmental sensitivity because of the pond, the
Right.
difference with the pond being
right.
different.
And
But I
that
do-
was a stream going into the pond, but what about this proposed, what's that? It's a proposed paved driveway. Where is that gonna be draining? Show me.
Well, so with all things single family right now, the way that it constitutes is we're not required to do any drainage. So the drainage would flow into the woods and eventually into the resource. Where it's a driveway, you're not expecting much in the area of contaminants as you would maybe a parking lot or a highway. But the state level and even local levels, there's no drainage or treatment requirements for driveways. The nice thing about having the pavement here, Nancy, and understanding the question that you're asking is long-term stability. You're not worried about rutting and eroding where you may in a gravel driveway.
Right.
I see it a lot of times when we do crossings in towns, they'll actually ask for the crossing to be paved so that it's not constantly being maintained and eroding into the resource. So I like the idea of having this paved up towards the resource area. I think it's a long-term solution that's probably going to give them at least 10 to 20 years of life.
So, but nobody from the commission has gone out. Bob, did you go out and check these wetland flags? Or were
I've
you
been
on,
out to the
have you
site
been
several
on?
times.
Yep. I'm sorry.
I've been out there a number of times. I haven't checked each and every flag, but for what I could see, it was all right.
And Jamie, question for you.
Yes, sir.
Looking at the soil logs, and you got mottling on all 4 test pits between 22 inches down and 24 inches down.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to remove the A and B layers down to elevation 58.
Yep.
And you're starting at elevation 60 or 61.
Yes.
So and what you're removing is sandy loam, which is pretty good perking material.
It can be.
And you're bringing in equivalent stuff.
No, so we're gonna be, can you see the test pit logs that I have on the screen?
I got them in front of me.
All right, perfect. So we're removing, just like you said, the OA and the B. So a
Yep.
sandy loam has to be at least 50% sand,
Yep.
and then it's a mixture of silts and clays. And then underneath that, we have a loamy sand, which is actually 85% sand.
Yep.
And then can be some silts and clays. It's a much more coarse sandy material. We're going to actually be taking those materials out and bringing in for the septic system, going to be bringing in a Title V sand for under the septic system.
Septic sand. Yeah.
Yep. And because we have less than 2 minute an inch perks in the loamy sands, we'll be keeping the 5+ feet groundwater separation for treatment below that leaching field.
Yeah, I see that. Less than 2 minutes per inch.
Yes, sir.
And the perk depth was down to 44 inches on test pit 1,
Yep.
42 on test pit 2. And I guess those were good enough that you didn't bother with 3 and 4, right?
You need 4 holes and 2 perks for new construction. And before it used to only be, you needed 2 holes with the perks on each.
Yep.
Up until, I forget, 2000, it changed.
Okay, just checking on the soil there.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more question. Okay?
Did we lose them?
Bob?
no, he's muted.
Oh,
Did we lose Bob?
He appears to just be muted.
well, I'm assuming
All
it's
right.
okay.
There he is.
I'm back. I got kicked off there for a second, but I'm back.
Okay,
Okay, I had one more question.
sure.
I couldn't tell on the locust, Jamie. There's 2 lots for sale or 2 different spots for sale. Is this the one closest to Cross Street? That's got the little like dirt road kind of going into it?
Yeah,
Or
this
is
is the
it
one.
the farther one back?
No, this is the one with the dirt road going into it.
And that's the lot closest to Cross Street, to Taunton Street?
Taunton Street, yes, I believe that's the case. I believe the lot that you're thinking of is right over here. The other lot,
It's further back. There's 2 for sale signs and it's like 2 little areas where you could probably squish something in.
correct. Yeah, I believe the other lot that you're referencing is over in here.
Back further? Okay.
Yep, I
Yeah,
believe so.
that is Tickville. I have 5 ticks on me walking back in there.
Yeah, not a good place to go without some spray on.
Nope. Okay. I'm done.
I'm gonna verify on that lot location for you because we did have a Form A plan, and I just want to make sure I'm not misspeaking to you, Nancy.
Okay.
I
It's
wouldn't
hard
feel right
to,
about
hard
it.
to tell on the locust.
It is, I agree. All right, can you see this new plan on my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so it appears that we're looking at lot 2. That's us, and then there's a parcel A, and let me
Yep.
see if there is a more updated Form A plan that I have. That looks like, let me see. I believe that's the one.
Okay.
So to the best of my knowledge, Nancy and
It's the
Commissioner,
lot 2.
this is lot 2. Yep.
Yep.
And this
Okay.
is our entrance right in here.
Yep. I see it. It matches.
Okay,
Thank you.
no, anytime.
All right, Nancy, John.
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you. And Josh?
I'm all set.
All set. All right, good. So any other questions or are we ready for a vote?
I'll make a motion that we close the hearing
Hear any? No,
and
no
issue.
butters?
Oh, no butters.
No.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
close the hearing and issue our standard orders of conditions for before, during, and after construction. Everything will be included in that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other
Oh, what?
discussion?
Oh, excuse me. I got an amendment. I have an amendment to my motion, pending. Oh, you said you were already approved by the Board of Health, right? Okay, never mind.
No, we're not, we're in front of the Board of Health, but not approved yet.
Oh, all right. So this is approved pending Board of Health approval. Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Joseph,
Aye.
Nancy,
Oops, I forgot one question.
go ahead.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Jamie.
no worries. What is it?
Natural heritage.
Yes. Let's take a quick peek.
When did you send it out? Because I'll just put it in the conditions pending Board of Health and Natural Heritage approval and any conditions they might add.
Yeah, it went out to Natural Heritage. Yeah, it went out to Natural Heritage it looks like the 29th. So they've had it, they may have had it a week now at the most. So yeah, hold on. We do have a determination from Natural Heritage. Let me see.
In a week?
No, I think we sent it out ahead of time. Here, let me share my screen. We can take a quick peek at this together. All right, can you see this letter?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, 5 Cross Street, single family home, file number, that's 2021, and it was dated April 28th. So let's see. Yep, notice of intent site plan dated 4/21/21. That's the date of our plan, correct? 4/21/21.
Let's see.
Yes, 4/21/21.
Okay,
Excellent. All right, so it said based on the review, it will not adversely affect
Yep.
and will not result in a prohibitive take. I can forward this over. I'll forward this over now.
okay,
I apologize. I didn't know about this letter.
okay. Well, I almost forgot to ask a question, so there you go. All right, so I guess my motion stands as it was.
Okay. So we.
Aye.
Thanks for the reminder. Next, John,
Aye.
Josh,
Aye.
and I say aye also. So the motion carries.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jamie.
Jamie.
Good night.
Night.
Okay, moving along. Next is 83 Howland. This is an RDA, and I think we have someone from Outback. Mr. Drake.
Yes. Thank you for hearing us. Representing Kevin and Nina Mock, they're the owners, and the applicant is, their effective system has failed, and we're basically putting a new one in. To bring it up to Title V and the Board of Health requirements. Existing cesspool pool will be removed, and that's where the new thing, as a matter of fact, I think I'll share the plan. Give me a minute here. You can see that?
Yep.
Okay. So.
Can you bring that up in size, please?
Yep.
That's good.
This shows where the existing cesspool is that'll be removed. The new tank will go in and connect into the existing house, and the field will be located out back in the rear yard here. There's the, and it's basically located there because the well is in the front, so that makes it over 110 feet from the well. And then there's a public well that's at that's this line here, the IWPA, which is the 400-foot buffer from a public well that's at the high school. So we kept it on the outside of that buffer zone. And the erosion control to keep anything from flowing down towards the stream. The whole property is within the riverfront area. So we tried to minimize as much disturbance as we could and tried to keep, the system as close to the house as possible. And the area that there now is just brush and some lawn. And so basically it's bringing the system up to proper Title V and Board of Health requirements. Is there any questions?
Okay, questions. Let's start with Joe.
None.
All right, Nancy?
So it's in the inner riparian zone? Is that what you're saying? That 69 feet is from the top of the bank of a stream?
Yes, it is.
What kind of a stream?
It's, I think it's a tributary of the Cedar Swamp River.
Swamp, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It was flowing when I was out there. Let's see, a month ago. I'm not sure if it slows way down when you get to, summertime, but
Okay,
it appears that it does continue to flow.
so perennial.
Yes, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been out there a few times, and the flow is kind of variable. Sometimes it's down to almost nothing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no, that's it.
All right, John?
Oh, I don't have any questions.
All right, and Josh?
No comment.
All right. Well, it looks like you've lucked out. All looks
Oh.
good.
Okay, I'll make a motion to issue a negative determination 3 with a condition that the agent will be called to check the siltation barrier before construction begins.
Good.
Second.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
All right. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Joseph,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and Josh,
Aye.
and I say aye. Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good night.
You're welcome. Okay, Cape and Islands, we can skip over. And I don't think there's anyone here from LeBaron, am I correct?
We got an official request for a continuance, Mr. Chairman.
Right. Okay,
So I make a motion that we continue the hearing on the residences at LeBaron Hills to our May 25th meeting at 7 PM.
all right, but before we jump to to that motion, what is going on? What presently?
Well, Scott, they were supposed to go tomorrow to do a field review of the stream.
Right.
Brad, the wetland specialist used by Scott. But what was the name of the original? Goddard, right. Goddard couldn't make it, so they have to move it up. I think they're going next Monday together. Goddard and Brad Holmes are gonna go together to review the filing or the wetland line or the stream or the bank of the stream or whatever. They're going together next Monday.
All right, good. So anyone else have any questions in regards to LeBaron? All right, so you can continue your motion to continue.
I already did. I just need a second.
Oh,
Second.
all right, do we have a second?
Yep.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Joseph,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Josh,
Aye.
and I say aye. Motion carries. Next, Lakeville Hospital, Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. Is it now your turn, Brittany?
I suppose. Thanks, everyone. Did you miss me?
It's not the same anymore.
I know, you get your Thursdays back and so we submitted the SWIP for the Lakeville Hospital project. And I assume, I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at it yet, but we submitted that in accordance with one of the conditions. And that's the commencement of construction is pending, the commission's review and any comments on the SWIP. So I'd be happy to walk you guys through it, or if you have any questions, or I don't know how you guys want to handle your review of the SWIP.
To be honest, I had started reviewing mine, and when they moved my office, somehow it got lost. So
Oh,
if I can't find it, I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to send another link. I can just send you a link now, that way you have it just in case.
Okay.
I know it's a fairly lengthy document. I will say that the bulk of the pages in the PDF really are the construction general permit that the EPA issues. So I know sometimes when folks open the PDF, it seems a little daunting. It's pretty lengthy, but the meat of the SWIP is really just the first, I don't know, couple dozen pages up front.
Okay.
So are you held up from doing anything if we don't?
I would just say in the coming weeks, I think the condition did allow you guys 6 weeks to review it.
Okay.
We just submitted our ENOI to the EPA last Thursday, so we can't start anything until 2 weeks from last Thursday, so about a week and a half out. So ideally, if we could sort this out in the next few weeks, that would be great. But per the condition, you guys do have 6 weeks, but hopefully, we're hoping we could get through it in advance of that.
That sounds doable.
So can we put this on the next meeting's agenda for 2 weeks?
Sure.
Give everybody time to read it?
Nancy?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think it's gonna help me reading it. I think it might be something that we might want Scott to take a quick look at, just for any outstanding red flags would be my thing, not any intensive long review, just a quick look to make sure he thinks everything's in order.
Yeah.
Does
well, we have-
DEP review that? The SWIP?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it's just it's through the EPA, the NIPSES program. Essentially, any project that disturbs more than 1 acre of land has to file an ENOI with NIPSES and prepare a SWIP and maintain a SWIP throughout construction.
Right.
Sorry, there's so many acronyms when you talk about the
no
SWIP.
problem, yeah.
I feel like alphabet soup over here.
Well, I don't see any harm in running it by Scott again, unless he's had it up to here.
Right, and he'd probably be looking at it not just for us, but for the whole town
He's
still,
got all that
actually.
assembled knowledge now, having
Right.
carried it on this
Right.
far. So, Joe, did I ask you? Yeah. For
About-
comment?
This document?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
just if you had any overall comments on the document.
None, other than, have my eyeballs fall out reading it.
It's a biggie.
It is.
And we wore you out trying to follow the erosion control
Yeah,
line.
6,100 feet of erosion control. Oh my God.
And actually, we surveyed it, and they didn't go far enough. So they're out there surveying. There's going to be a bit more erosion
Oh,
control
so
being laid.
You got to go back now, Joe.
You know what really wore me out? I'll tell you what really wore me out. Constantly trying to get Brittany's last name spelled correctly in all these minutes for the different.
They kept changing it back. We changed
kept
it and then they
changing
changed
back.
it again.
They sent me corrected copies, and they changed it for what I corrected it to something wrong. Brittany, it got so bad, I actually had to pull the big roll of plans and unroll them and look at your Massachusetts engineering stamp to make sure
Yeah, my
I
name's
was doing it right. That's how paranoid I got redoing these.
Well, if that's the worst part of your memories from the last 6 months, I'll take it.
All right, so no comment then.
No, none.
Okay.
Uh,
And if you're reaching out to Scott, I mean, I'd be happy to, once he has an opportunity to review, if he wants to chat about anything, and I'd be happy to address this with him, and hopefully we can have everything buttoned up before your next meeting.
All right, great. Thank you.
That sounds good. So I will make a motion to continue Lakeville Hospital 43 Main Street to our meeting of May 25th at 7 o'clock, pending review by Scott Turner
Turner.
from Environmental Partners and in collaboration with Brittany.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Let's just say aye.
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 Good enough. All right, a couple more pieces. Thank you. Was there anything else, Brittany?
Just one other item there. I'd just be curious to gauge your appetite. There were 2 conditions in the order of conditions that, if you guys had a couple minutes, if you wouldn't mind us discussing now and see if there's opportunity to modify them. But if not, and if you want to move along with your agenda, totally understand.
Well, why don't you just run it by real quick and we'll see if we need to postpone it or
Okay.
tackle it now.
Great. So one of the conditions is condition number 4. I'll just paraphrase, but I'll read it. It says all construction materials, earth stockpiles, landscaping materials, slurry pit, waste products, refuse, debris, stumps, slash, or excavate may only be stockpiled or collected in areas as shown and labeled on the approved plans, under cover and surrounded by double-staked row straw bales, silt sock, or alternative approved by Lakeville Conservation Commission to prevent contact with rainwater. If no such areas are shown, must be placed or stored outside all resource areas. Our only question or request on that condition is that only to apply to areas within buffer zones and within the Concom jurisdiction, rather than the entirety of the site? I guess we're just looking for clarification on that condition.
I would think it's not the entire site, only those that are within jurisdiction.
I would assume that also.
Okay. That's our understanding. I guess we just wanted to confirm that that's the case. I don't know if there's any reason to clarify formally, or if, maybe this just serves as clarification.
No, I'm good with our interpretation of it, so.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
'cause once you get beyond our jurisdiction, we don't have the authority.
Yeah,
Okay. That's our understanding too. We just wanted to make sure. There's lots of conditions on this one, so we're trying our
Yeah.
best to comply with them all.
no, that's good.
There was just one other, and then I will allow you guys to move along. Condition number 34, if you don't mind, let me just pan to that page. This condition, again, I'll read it just because I think it provides the background. Copies of all additional state and federal permits received for the project, including but not limited to a water quality certificate from DEP, a beneficial use determination from DEP, a final MEPA certificate, the Massachusetts DOT access permit will be provided to the commission prior to the start of construction. We won't have all of those permits prior to the start of construction, specifically the DOT access permit. We may have the MEPA certificate just given the timing, but is it okay that that condition refers to permits that are in hand? We'll have those on site as we get outstanding permits, so we can keep those on site, but we won't have all of them when construction starts.
Yeah, that should have been made a little more clearly but yes, that's the understanding.
Okay, great. So those were just the two that stuck out to us that we just want to make sure we have the same understanding on. And as long as, maybe me just asking during this hearing serves as appropriate clarification, I think that's fine with us.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you guys very much for the time, and I look forward to working with Scott and seeing you guys in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you for coming.
All right, bye.
All right, bye now. All right, just a couple more business items to take care of. Meeting minutes. These are the minutes for the 43D hearings. So the good news is we don't have to go through and approve all of them individually. We can just make it a package deal because they've already been voted on. So we're just by the other parties. So we just need to accept them.
I wish to note at this point that there are still a number of things. The Board of Health has at least 2 sets of these that they're not approving because there's so many mistakes that have not been corrected.
Mm-hmm.
I keep writing down asking questions about some of these things, and I get something back that says this is the corrected copy, and my question is still on the sheet.
Yeah, it's because it's going through so many.
I'm spelling Chris Pratt's name as Spratt.
Yeah. It's the process. It goes through so many different hands that
I
there's
understand. Yeah.
more opportunities to mangle it.
Yeah.
So should we not approve?
I would not right now. I mean, I wouldn't want to get into a position where we go and approve something, and who knows down the line if anyone's planning some kind of lawsuit or something against this, and they're pouring through the minutes as approved and find something. I mean, I've been at every one of these meetings, and I still have questions on some of these, the way the minutes were taken. What was the intent of this statement? And I'm not talking about, all the typos and all that sort of stuff. I'm talking about very confusing statements of fact that I don't think were what the speaker intended. Okay, that sort of thing.
Right.
Well, I like to hold off on this for a while because I got about 3 sets of these things now. 3 sets of minutes for each one of these different meetings that we've had there, the last 5.
Well, like the 2 questions that Brittany just had for clarification, they're not consequential, whatever.
Inconsequential.
We got it.
It's the medication. But there's the opportunity that if it was something more significant, that we could go back and correct the record based on what was said, what would have to be clarified, et cetera. So, yeah, I'm agreement.
That's why I was asking, writing questions on some of these, what is it? I think they had to go back on the Board of Health. There was some question that I had noted. We had one of the members of the Board of Health voting on something, and he wasn't even listed as being present at the meeting.
Yeah.
And we had to go back. It was one of those snowplow nights, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, they had him opening the hearing and he wasn't even there.
Opening
That's
the
what it
hearing, and he
was.
wasn't even there. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lori showed me that one.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll table that for now.
Okay.
Tamarack Park, we've had a request from a family that wants to donate a bench and have it placed in memorial to one of their family members and have it placed in the park. Now, I realize there are some things we need to check on first, but I would be in favor of it.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman,
Nancy, yes.
my ranger that passed away last year, I already have a fund going for, and it doesn't mean you can't have 2, but just so you know, I already have considerable fund going that Todd's holding on to for now, for a memorial bench for Glenn McAvoy, my ranger that passed away last year.
Yep.
The more the better.
Right, and well, if we go through the highway department, they order them and get them cheaper. So you're right, John. But I just wanted you to know that I have
Okay.
another one in the making. So that's fine. It'd be great to have a couple of benches up there on the hill.
Well, sure. Encourage people to use it more.
Well, that gets used. That's a big lunchtime spot for people.
Yep,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
They go over to Savas, the former Savas, Lakeville Liquors, get a
can't
sandwich or
beat
a hot meal and go over there and eat.
Yeah. Oh, it reminds me of the time when the Tamarack restaurant was there and you got to
Yes.
eat in the restaurant.
Yep.
Uh,
And I heard some things about upstairs.
It's probably the downstairs you heard things
Oh,
about.
maybe.
yeah, it's downstairs.
That's where the bar was, downstairs.
Downstairs.
All right, and one more thing, we need to grant an extension for the order of conditions for Mass DOT for the South Coast Rail, which is just a formality on the work they've been doing forever. So
As a matter of fact, I did a lot of track walking when I was out with Olivia from
Yeah.
Mass Audubon, walking all that property that they hold over there, starting from the high school, going all down to Howland Road. We did a lot of track walking because the track runs through the middle of that property. So I took the opportunity to see how they're doing on South Coast Rail. Everything seems to be doing fine there. I'd be willing to, make a motion to grant the extension.
yeah, they're certainly moving a lot of material.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a little different than a regular one. Don't they get a 5-year extension, or is it only 3?
It's only 3, and the date really doesn't matter. It's waived because of the virus.
Okay.
And anything that came due within that period of time is automatically.
Did the request actually say 3? I mean, I never saw a copy of the request. They must have had to do a formal request, right?
It should have been, they sent a formal request. It should have been in the packet that you, or you were
I
the
have-
people that didn't get one.
I have
Oh,
a couple of the letters.
it just seems in my memory, last time it was because it was South Coast Rail, it was 5 years, but I could be wrong. Just want to be sure. And I can have all the lights off so my glasses don't shine, so I can't see anything.
I don't think it says how long they want it for.
Okay. So we'll just do it for 3. If they want it for longer, they'll have to come back, right?
Yeah, we can just do
Oh,
another one. if we have to.
3-year extension.
3 years.
3-year
That's right.
extension.
Yeah.
All right. So I make a motion that we grant a 3-year extension to the order of conditions for Mass DOT South Coast Rail.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion
Aye.
carries. I think we're done.
Okay, John, here you go.
Motion to, what is it called?
Adjourn.
Yeah,
Oh,
that.
Second.
all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're done. Thank you
All right,
all.
everybody.
Thank
night.
you. Night.